There are nights that split a life in two, before and after, moments so sharp they slice reality into pieces you can never stitch back together. For Yu Menglong, that night came wrapped in fog so thick it swallowed the world whole, a night where the air felt heavier than smoke and the silence carried secrets trying too hard not to breathe. He was never meant to walk down that alley. Never meant to pause. Never meant to look. But fate, as it often does with those marked too early, pushed him exactly where he didn't belong, straight into the jaws of a truth designed to stay buried forever. It began with a sound, soft, metallic, almost delicate. A click. Not loud enough to alarm a passerby, but sharp enough to snag Yu Menglong's attention. He stopped, glanced over his shoulder, and that tiny hesitation became the first domino in a chain no one could stop once it started falling. The fog curled like living hands around the buildings, and the lamps overhead flickered as though trying to warn him. But curiosity, that dangerous flame in his chest, burned brighter than caution. He stepped closer. Then he saw it. A white van, engine running, parked near the far end of the alley. Its back doors were slightly open, a thin line of light leaking through the gap. And inside, silhouettes. Shadows bending over something. Or someone. Yu Menglong felt the hairs on his arms prick with instinct. Every part of him whispered walk away, but the whisper came too late. One of the silhouettes shifted. A sleeve slid back. A wrist glinted with a tattoo, someone he recognized from a viral clip that the public believed was harmless, but that authorities had suspiciously scrubbed from existence. A symbol connected to scandals whispered online but buried offline. A symbol linked to the 17-person list. A symbol that should never have been in a place like this, at a time like this, doing things no one should witness. Yu Menglong froze. And that tiny pause was the moment everything changed. Inside the van, the shadows spoke in low, clipped tones. Their words floated through the fog like knives wrapped in velvet. Make sure the drive is clear. What about the footage? Already disabled. Nothing records here tonight. Yu Menglong's breath caught. Footage. Drive. Disabled. He hadn't meant to eavesdrop, but the alley carried the voices toward him with eerie precision. His heartbeat thundered, yet beneath the panic, a journalist's instinct, sharp, hungry, unstoppable, rose like a flame demanding air. He stepped back slowly. One step. Then another. But the fog betrayed him. His shoe scraped against a loose piece of gravel. The voices stopped. Silence crashed down with the weight of a falling building. For one impossible second, no one moved. The world held its breath. Then, a face turned toward the alley entrance. Not just any face. A face Yu Menglong recognized from a scandal buried under layers of denial. A face that should have been hundreds of miles away, protected, untouchable, powerful. Their eyes met. And in that instant, Yu Menglong realized two things. He was never supposed to be here. And now that he was, he would not be allowed to leave. He ran. Not because he was weak, but because he was smart enough to know when death had just opened its mouth. His footsteps hammered against pavement. Fog whipped past him in strips. Behind him, shouts tore through the night, sharp commands, heavy boots, a van door slamming open like a gunshot. Yu Menglong didn't look back. He couldn't. Every instinct screamed that if he turned his head even a fraction, hesitation would catch him like barbed wire. His lungs burned. His throat felt like fire. But adrenaline, cold and furious, pushed him forward. Left. Right. Across the street. His pulse roared louder than the city. He darted through an abandoned market plaza, neon lights flickering overhead as if they, too, sensed the danger trailing him. But Yu Menglong wasn't just running for his life, he was running with something dangerous lodged in his memory. Something that connected faces, symbols, whispers, and that forbidden list no one could fully decode. He had seen what they were doing. He knew who they were protecting. And most terrifying of all, he knew what they were planning next. Behind him, the van's headlights sliced through the fog like twin blades. Cut him off. His heading toward East Bridge. Do not let him disappear. Yu Menglong's mind raced. He veered down a narrow staircase leading under the old bridge, a place he'd explored as a child, where the concrete walls were covered with murals no one cared about and the echoes could swallow sound whole. He pressed himself against the wall, panting, listening. Boot steps thundered overhead. Then, a voice, sharper than the rest. Find him. He saw everything. His blood iced. So they knew. They were certain. Not maybe. Not possibly. He saw everything. Suddenly the bridge didn't feel safe. The shadows didn't feel friendly. The silence no longer offered protection, it felt like a net tightening around him. He pulled out his phone with shaking hands, opened the video app, and whispered, "If you're seeing this, something happened." He hesitated, swallowing the fear rising in his throat like a tide. "I didn't go looking for trouble. I saw something. Something I wasn't supposed to see." A bang echoed overhead, heavy, metallic. He flinched. "They're coming." He turned the camera toward himself, eyes wide, breath fast. "If anything happens to me, don't let them bury the truth. Don't let them rewrite this. Don't let them erase my name." A crack. A footstep. A flashlight beam catching the wall behind him. He hit send. The video uploaded. The world would see it if anything went wrong. Then all the lights went out. What happened under that bridge was never recorded. Not by street cameras, disabled. Not by phones, jammed. Not by the city, silent. But by dawn, menglong was gone. And the people who chased him vanished just as quickly, swallowed into the machinery of whatever power had ordered the operation in the first place. Only the video remained. Shaky. Breathless. Urgent. And in the background of the final seconds, barely visible beneath the bridge's graffiti, was the same tattoo from the alley. A symbol belonging to someone not on the 17-person list. Someone far above them. Someone who had built this entire structure of shadows. And when the internet slowed the footage down, enhanced the background, and finally recognized the mark, everything changed. Because menglong hadn't just seen something. He'd uncovered the first crack in a world built on lies. And cracks, no matter how small, always spread. The night didn't loosen its grip on menglong, not after he ran, not after he hid, not after he sent the desperate video that would later ignite a storm. The darkness seemed alive now, like it had learned his name and wasn't ready to let go. He crouched behind a rusted metal pillar beneath the bridge, the concrete dripping with moisture that echoed like timed warnings. Every droplet felt like a countdown. Every vibration in the ground hinted that the van, the men, the shadows, the truth, they were all closing in again. His breath ghosted into the cold air. He tried to steady it. Failed. He replayed what he had seen in the alley, the moment that changed everything. The van's open door. The men inside. The symbol on that wrist etched like a signature of power. The figure they were surrounding, limp, silent, covered. A cold shiver passed through him. He hadn't just seen an illegal exchange or a corrupt rendezvous. He had stumbled upon something structured, organized, designed. A system that operated behind the curtain of the city's smiles and skyscrapers. And he had seen the face behind it. Not a random thug. Not a name the media ever mentioned. A high rank disguised as invisibility. A man whose existence stayed behind polished glass and sealed doors. menglong pressed a trembling hand against the pillar. "They won't let me walk away from this," he whispered to himself. Above him, the bridge trembled as vehicles passed, making the shadows shake across the walls like wild animals pacing in a cage. The sound reminded him of the moment the men realized he'd heard too much, the sudden snap in their voices, the slice of urgency, the way their command shifted from secrecy to pursuit. Find him, now. He flinched at the memory. He wasn't a spy. He wasn't an investigator. He was simply a young man who took a wrong turn and saw the wrong thing. But sometimes fate chooses people who never asked for the burden, and once chosen, there is no escape. A faint crunch echoed from far behind him. He froze. Another step. A slow one. They were coming down the same underpass now. menglong's eyes darted around. There were no exits except the one on the far end, a long stretch of cracked cement lit by a single flickering lamp. If he ran now, they'd catch him in seconds. If he stayed still, they'd find him eventually. His pulse hammered louder than the footsteps. He slid deeper into the shadows, pressing himself behind a slab of broken concrete. His fingers curled around his phone, the only thing he had left. He opened the camera not to record, but to use the black screen as a reflective mirror. Through the faint reflection, he saw them. 3 figures. Moving like predators who knew the terrain, each footstep careful and deliberate. One held a flashlight, sweeping it across the graffiti-stained walls. Another carried something heavier. Couldn't be a weapon, could it? Menglong swallowed hard. The beam of light crawled toward him, creeping up the pillar, across the cracks in the stone, toward the space where he hid. Then suddenly it jerked away. A shout echoed from the opposite direction. He went this way. All 3 men turned and rushed toward the sound, one that had not come from Menglong. His heart stopped, then slammed back into motion. Someone else was here. Someone had thrown off the search. He peeked from behind the slab and spotted a shadow slipping between the pillars, quick, silent, controlled. Whoever it was moved with purpose, leading the pursuers deeper into the maze beneath the bridge. Menglong didn't know if it was friend or coincidence. All he knew was that he had a few precious seconds to move. He forced his shaking legs to stand. He darted toward the far end of the underpass, staying low, hugging the walls. The lamp at the exit flickered like a stuttering heartbeat. Freedom was just beyond it. But the night wasn't finished with him. A silhouette stepped into the light. Tall. Still. Unhurried. Menglong skidded to a stop. His shoes splashed through a shallow puddle, the sound sharp enough to betray his position. The figure slowly turned its head toward him. Their eyes met. Recognition sparked. Fear exploded. Menglong stumbled back. It was him. The man from the alley. The one with the tattoo. The one whose men were chasing him across the city. And this time, he wasn't a shadow inside a van. He was close enough for Menglong to see the cold calmness in his face, the kind only possessed by those who wield power like a blade. "You should not have seen anything tonight," the man said softly, voice dripping with quiet authority. Menglong's lungs tightened. He backed away, shaking his head. "I didn't mean to, I didn't. It doesn't matter what you meant." The man stepped forward. "It only matters what you know." Menglong stumbled again, thought of running, thought of yelling, thought of anything, but his mind spun too fast to land on a plan. His body trembled. His throat dried. Then, a sudden crash exploded behind the man. A metal pipe hit the ground and rolled. The man turned sharply. Menglong seized the moment. He ran. Not toward the light. Not toward safety. But toward the maze of broken beams and hidden paths where the stranger had disappeared moments earlier, because any path was better than the one that ended with that cold voice catching him. Behind him, the man shouted, "Stop!" But the darkness swallowed Menglong whole. The night wasn't done with him. And the truth he had seen wasn't finished demanding its price.